What's sizzling in the world of electric mobility? Get ready, because ElectroDrive News is dropping the hottest updates that you absolutely cannot afford to miss. The pace of innovation is absolutely insane, and we're here to break down the game-changing developments as they happen. From critical policy shifts to groundbreaking tech, if it's moving the needle in the EV space, we've got it covered. Prepare for a rapid-fire rundown that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. We're diving into crucial timelines, unexpected industry pivots, and the financial incentives shaping the future of driving. You're about to get the inside scoop on what's coming next, so buckle up. Let's electrify your knowledge. First up, we're tracking the progress of vital EV infrastructure. Remember those promises of new charging stations hitting key routes? Well, we've got the latest on when you can actually expect to plug in, with new details emerging on project timelines and funding streams that could get electric fuel flowing sooner than you think. It's a critical update for anyone keeping an eye on the expanding EV network. Next, we're tackling a deadline that could impact your wallet. A significant tax credit for electric vehicles is on the horizon for expiration, and we're breaking down exactly what this means for potential buyers. Should you rush out and snag that EV before the clock runs out? We've got the insights you need to make an informed decision on this rapidly approaching cutoff. And finally, a major automotive player is making a surprising strategic shift. One of the biggest names in performance vehicles is rethinking its approach to in-house battery production, citing market dynamics and economic viability. What does this mean for their EV future and the broader industry? We've got the full story. And after this electrifying update, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to ElectroDrive News, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Charging forward, the road ahead for Route 347's EV stations. Progress on public EV infrastructure is gaining momentum. It's a story that's been on the radar for a while, but now it's gaining serious traction. The development of electric vehicle charging stations along State Route 347. For those eagerly anticipating the expansion of EV infrastructure, especially in burgeoning areas, this update from the Arizona Department of Transportation, ADOT, is a jolt of much-needed energy. ADOT has recently put out a call for public feedback on new EV charging corridors across the state, and crucially, confirmed that SR 347 is indeed part of the ongoing plan. This comes after a period where details seemed scarce, leading to understandable public inquiry. However, ADOT spokesperson Steve Elliott clarified that SR 347 was specifically included in the state's 2023 deployment plan. The next steps involve a formal process to solicit and award contracts for these new and upgraded charging stations, a process expected to commence later this year. While the exact locations will be determined by the selected contractors, initial plans from 2023 indicated a potential four-port charging facility at Smith & K Road. Adding to the charging network's growth, Tesla has also submitted formal plans for Maricopa's first-ever supercharger station. This proposed 16-stall facility at Fry's Marketplace on John Wayne Parkway, if approved, would become the city's largest charging hub and would be privately developed and operated by Tesla. The funding for these public charging stations remains a key point of interest. While a specific price tag for Maricopa's publicly funded station isn't yet available, ADOT has estimated the broader program at approximately $27.6 million. A significant portion of this, $16.3 million, is directly linked to the 2023 deployment plan. This funding originates from the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, a substantial $5 billion federal initiative launched in 2021. After a temporary pause earlier this year due to a legal challenge that was subsequently resolved, the funding flow has been reinstated, clearing the path for these crucial projects. The timeline for actual public use is anticipated to be around 2027, assuming all developments proceed smoothly, with construction potentially beginning as early as next year. This phased approach underscores the complexity of large-scale infrastructure projects, but the confirmation and forward momentum signal a positive development for EV adoption in the region. Public anticipation is high, with many community members expressing enthusiasm for the increased charging availability. while analysts note the critical role such infrastructure plays in broader EV adoption rates. Hold onto your chargers, because the landscape of EV incentives is about to shift dramatically. Next, we're diving into a critical tax credit deadline that could change everything for prospective EV buyers. The ticking clock, navigating the EV tax credit before it vanishes. A crucial deadline looms for federal EV purchase incentives. The window for securing a significant federal tax credit on electric vehicle purchases is rapidly closing, with a firm deadline of September 30, 2025, set by the IRS. This critical date means that any new EV acquisition must be finalized with a written, binding contract and include a down payment by this date to qualify for the existing credit. For consumers who have been contemplating a switch to electric, this presents a clear impetus to act decisively. The tax credit has been a substantial incentive, making EVs more accessible and encouraging a faster transition away from internal combustion engines. Its expiration raises questions about the future pace of EV adoption and the potential impact on manufacturers and dealerships. The IRS guidance emphasizes the need for these contracts to be legally binding, ensuring that the purchase is cemented before the deadline. This measure is designed to prevent last-minute claims and ensure the credit serves its intended purpose of driving immediate EV sales. For potential buyers, this means carefully reviewing purchase agreements and understanding the exact terms and conditions related to the down payment and contract finalization. Missing this deadline could mean a significant increase in the overall cost of an EV, potentially shifting the economic calculus for many households. Industry analysts are closely watching how this deadline affects sales figures in the coming months. Some predict a surge in purchases as the deadline approaches, followed by a potential slowdown in the market as the incentive disappears. Dealerships are expected to play a key role in educating consumers about the requirements and ensuring compliance. The expiration of this federal incentive also comes at a time when many states and local governments offer their own EV incentives, which may or may not be affected by the federal changes. Consumers are advised to research all available incentives at multiple levels of government. The long-term implications of this expiring credit are far-reaching, potentially influencing consumer behavior, manufacturer production strategies, and the overall trajectory of the U.S. EV market. As the September 30, 2025 deadline draws nearer, the focus intensifies on how this change will reshape the electric vehicle landscape for years to come. Consumers are actively seeking clarification on the requirements, with online forums buzzing with discussions about purchase strategies, while industry experts caution that this could significantly impact market demand in the short term. But what happens when the market shifts and even established players have to pivot? Get ready for a surprising announcement from a major luxury automaker regarding their battery production plans. Porsche pulls the plug on in-house battery production. Automaker cites market slowdown and economic viability for strategic shift. In a significant development that underscores the evolving challenges within the electric vehicle sector, luxury automaker Porsche has announced it is canceling its ambitious plans for in-house high-performance battery cell production. The decision, attributed to slower-than-anticipated electric vehicle demand globally and what the company describes as challenging conditions in key markets like the US and China, signals a major recalibration for the brand and potentially for the wider automotive industry. Porsche's battery division, Cellforce, will scale down its operations, redirecting its focus primarily to cell research and development rather than large-scale manufacturing. This move acknowledges the immense financial and logistical hurdles involved in battery production. Establishing battery factories requires billions of dollars in upfront investment, and achieving the necessary economies of scale to compete, especially with established Asian manufacturers, has proven to be an exceptionally difficult task. Oliver Blume, CEO of both Porsche and its parent company, the Volkswagen Group, stated that, for volume reasons and a lack of economies of scale, Porsche is no longer pursuing its own production of battery cells. This decision comes despite Porsche's growing success in the EV market, with electric and hybrid models accounting for 36% of its global sales in the first half of 2025. Notably, the fully electric Macan variants represented nearly 26,000 of the model's 45,137 global sales in the first 2 quarters of 2025. Furthermore, Taycan sales in the U.S. saw a significant 31% year-over-year increase in the second quarter of 2025. However, Porsche is not alone in experiencing a market development that deviates from initial projections. Policy shifts in the U.S., including potential rollbacks to fuel economy regulations, the impending expiration of EV tax credits, and broader changes in clean energy policies, are contributing to a more uncertain outlook for EVs. This has led Porsche to conclude that its previously planned in-house battery business model is not economically viable. The original vision for Cellforce included a factory in southern Germany capable of producing 1 gigawatt-hour of batteries annually, enough to power approximately 10,000 Taycan sedans, with plans for a second, larger facility. Now, Cellforce's research and development efforts will be channeled into supporting the broader Volkswagen Group and V4 Smart, a battery company recently acquired by Porsche, which supplies cells for the hybrid 911 GTS. Reports indicate that around 200 of Cellforce's nearly 300 employees may be laid off, with remaining staff potentially offered positions within Volkswagen Group's main battery subsidiary, PowerCo, which will also utilize the R&D facility. This strategic pivot by Porsche highlights the intense competition and economic pressures facing European battery manufacturers, particularly against the backdrop of China's dominant position in battery supply chains and cost-effective production. The struggles of other European players, such as Swedish battery maker Northvolt, which filed for bankruptcy in the U.S., further illustrate the challenging environment. While larger players like CATL, BYD, and LG Energy Solution continue to expand, smaller, in-house battery ventures are increasingly being shelved. Porsche's decision reflects a broader industry trend of recalibrating strategies in response to fluctuating EV demand and intense market competition. Industry analysts are weighing in, with many suggesting this move reflects a pragmatic response to market realities, while Porsche enthusiasts are debating the implications for future model development and performance. And as one door closes on battery production, another opens for crucial charging infrastructure. Stay tuned as we reveal the latest on where EV charging stations are set to pop up next. Arizona's EV charging network, Route 347, back on the map. State DOT confirms inclusion of SR 347 in EV charging corridor plans. Good news for electric vehicle drivers in Arizona. The state Route 347 corridor is officially back on the agenda for much-needed EV charging infrastructure development. After a period of uncertainty, the Arizona Department of Transportation, ADOT, has confirmed that SR 347 is included in their updated plans for expanding the state's electric vehicle charging network. This confirmation follows ADOT's recent solicitation of public feedback on new EV charging corridors across Arizona. A spokesperson for ADOT, Steve Elliott, clarified that SR 347 was integrated into the state's deployment strategy back in 2023. The agency is now moving forward with the process to solicit and award contracts for these vital charging facilities, with that process slated to begin later this year. While the exact placement of the charging stations will be determined by the selected contractors, initial plans from 2023 had earmarked the Smith&K Road area for a four-port charging facility. Adding to the momentum, Tesla has also submitted plans for Maricopa's first-ever supercharger station. This proposed 16-stall facility, set to be located at Fry's Marketplace on John Wayne Parkway, would be the largest charging facility in the city if approved. Tesla would be responsible for the construction and operation of this private charging hub. The broader initiative to establish these charging corridors is funded through the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, a federal program allocating $5 billion to bolster EV charging across the nation. ADOT has estimated the total program cost at approximately $27.6 million, with $16.3 million specifically tied to the 2023 deployment plan. Following a temporary halt earlier this year due to a legal dispute, the Federal Highway Administration has resolved the issues, allowing the funding to flow once again. If all stages of development proceed as planned, construction could commence as early as next year, with the first charging ports potentially becoming operational in 2027. This timeline highlights the methodical nature of infrastructure projects, but the confirmed progress signifies a positive step forward for EV accessibility in the region. Community reaction has been overwhelmingly positive, with local officials highlighting the economic benefits, while infrastructure analysts emphasize the project's role in statewide EV adoption. But as infrastructure expands, financial incentives are also shifting dramatically. Prepare for critical details on an upcoming EV tax credit deadline that could impact your purchase decision. And that's a wrap on today's electrifying news. We saw progress on Arizona's EV charging network, a crucial tax credit deadline approaching fast, and a major automaker rethinking its battery strategy. Stay charged, stay informed, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to ElectroDrive News, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on all social platforms for even more updates. We'll see you next time.